going to be reading from my book again, The New Generation, Theodore Roosevelt. McKinley's successor was Vice President Theodore Roosevelt. Not quite 43 years old, and the youngest man ever to become President of the United States. He represented a new generation. Roosevelt was born in New York City on October 27, 1858, to a well-placed, well-to-do family. His childhood was easy and pleasant, except that he was not a strong boy. His eyes were weak and he had asthma. He was determined to overcome his physical frailty, and in the course of the years, he succeeded in living a strenuous, athletic life. While still at Harvard, he began writing his first book, which was published in 1882. A sound favorably reviewed book, The Naval War of 1812. In the meantime, in 1881, he entered politics, which not many young men of his social class did at that time. He won an election as a Republican to the New York State Assembly and served from 1881 to 1884. At first, he caused some amusement with his dude clothing and his high-pitched voice, but his energy and determination made him an effective legislator. The constant activity, the voice, and most of all, the enormous grin that seemed to reveal innumerable teeth became his trademark and a priceless gift to newspaper cartoonists. In 1895, Roosevelt was appointed a commissioner of the Police Board of New York City and was elected as president. In effect, this made him police commissioner. He took to prowling the streets late at night, wearing a dark cloak and a hat pulled down over his face in an attempt to hide his famous teeth, while he sought policemen who might be neglecting their duty. 2 years later, the new president, William McKinley, somewhat reluctantly appointed Roosevelt Assistant Secretary of the Navy. It was a post he greatly desired, but already his saber-rattling remarks in favor of American expansion had the peaceable McKinley worried. Those words were well-founded. In February 1898, when the Secretary of the Navy was absent from his office, Roosevelt took it upon himself to send instructions to Commodore George Dewey to make sure his Asiatic squadron was ready to fight the Spanish Navy in the Pacific Ocean the moment war was declared. The eventual result of this action was a naval victory in Malaya, I think that's how you say it, Bay, on May 1st. When war came, a desk job in Washington was too tame for Roosevelt. He received permission, along with Colonel Leonard Wood, under whom he was supposed to serve, to form a volunteer cavalry regiment. Although it had a formal designation, the unit was soon known as the Rough Riders, and Roosevelt was its leading spirit. The regiment was made up of an undisciplined mixture of cowboys and Indians from the West and Ivy League-ish young men from the East. The Rough Riders had to leave their horses behind, but they were soon in the thick of things in Cuba. On July 1st, 1898, Roosevelt got his chance to lead his men in charge up to San Juan Hill. Roosevelt performed bravely and became a national hero. The Republican leaders of New York State decided that the war hero was just what they needed, and they made Colonel Roosevelt their candidate for the governorship that same year. Roosevelt won, but by fewer than 18,000 votes. He was such an ambitious governor, especially in his zeal to root out corruption, that in 1900, some Republican leaders were only too happy to have him nominated for the vice presidency, in which It was normal for a man to disappear from public view. Death of an American president. William McKinley was the third American president to be assassinated. His death left the American people stunned and revengeful, as related in this excerpt from an article that appeared in the September 1901 Atlantic Monthly magazine. For a third time within the memory of men who still feel themselves young, the President of the United States has been struck down by an assassin. Each of these crimes was as wanton as it was remediless. No shadow of excuse or palliation, I think that's how you say it, except upon the charitable presumption of insanity, can be found. The circumstances of President McKinley's assassination have been such as to cause even more general and poignant sorrow to the nation as a whole. United as never before, enjoying an era of political good feeling and universally attracted by the lovable personal qualities of their presidents, the citizens of the United States, without regard to sectional or party differences, have been stunned and sickened by his murder. The behavior of our people during the days that intervened between the firing of the fatal shot and the death of the president has been thoroughly characteristic. The first shock and amazement were followed by an outburst of anger against anarchists of every stripe. Even the clergy, upon the first Sunday after that ill-starred Friday, made use of ill-considered appeals to the mere spirit of revenge. This news passed with calmer second thoughts and with those swiftly mounting expectations. American-like in their optimism, but alas, how futile! Of the president's recovery. Then came the sudden change for the worse, the abandonment of hope, the hours of hushed waiting for the end. His quiet courage and simple trust were contagious. And upon Sunday, the 15th, the public mood had changed from one of blind anger and dismay to faith in the perpetuation of our system of self-government and faith in God. But that the situation is in some respects very grave is generally realized. So far as the American people can protect the life of their chief magistrate against the common enemies of all governments, no effort will be spared to do so. A stricter enforcement of existing legislation, possibly new legislation, looking to the closer supervision of speech and action of suspicious element in the community is likely to follow. A blow directed against our president is a menace to each of us, and we have full right to take every precaution against the foes of established order. Please rate, comment, and subscribe down below, okay? And if you're watching this on TikTok, please like and follow me, okay? Bye!